What's up, nerds? It's your boy, the OG GM, coming to you live and large and caffeinated here at Site B on another foggy, rainy Monday morning. 9 o'clock in the morning. It's March 2023. It is the 20th day of March. It's the first day of spring. I know it's hard to believe because you look out the window and you see clouds and rain and goo and ugh, which is doubly disappointing since I live on a beach town. You'd think if I lived on the beach town, it'd be sunny, but apparently not, because weather. And whether you like it or not, it's time for the Tabletop RPG news of the week. See what I did there? It's time to take a look at all the tabletop role-playing game stories that are percolating to the top of the pile, and that will shape the next week. What are we going to be talking about? What controversies are rattling the tabletop role-playing game world, and how are we going to respond, and what are we going to make fun of? And of course, the top of the story is Wizards of the Coast, and both directly and indirectly Wizards of the Coast stuff. And right now, it's Honor Amongst Thieves, the D&D movie. Why are we talking about the D&D movie almost 2 weeks before it hits the theaters? Because of the Amazon thing. Now, if you're not aware of this, which is understandable because Amazon sort of did not go out of their way to let people know they were doing this, which is strange on its own, plus the way they did do it is also strange, so we'll get into that because there's just a couple levels of, So, in case you're living under a rock, there is a Dungeons & Dragons movie coming out called Honor Amongst Thieves. It's being released on the last day of this month, technically April 1st, which, in my humble opinion, is the worst day, or one of the 5 worst days to ever release a movie. April Fools. April Fools. Movie. April Fools. Theater. People. Yeah. Not a good choice. Not a good choice. It's called Honor Amongst Thieves. It's D&D adjacent. It features Chris Pine, who can save anything. And Amazon was running a special. If you happen to be a member of Prime, like myself, they were releasing preview tickets. A limited run of theaters across the planet are showing the movie ahead of time for Amazon Prime members. Why is Amazon Prime doing this? I don't know. What do they have to do with the D&D movie? Nothing, except, of course, Paramount Plus, who did do the movie, and Amazon have a strong, long-standing relationship, and Hasbro and Amazon have a strong, long-standing relationship. So they made this ticket available. Limited run. You could go and take a ticket and see the movie ahead of time. Now, the weirdness, of course, is one, Amazon didn't advertise it. I'm on Prime. I didn't see a single reference for it. I see the trailers. I don't see a single reference for it. I see the trailers for Paramount Plus stuff. I didn't see a reference for it. Until I read about it, I didn't even know it was happening. And why is that? Because, well, in a weird way, Amazon didn't go out of their way to even tell you about it. If you log on to Amazon, it's not on the first page. It's not blatantly here. This is it. We're doing it. Look, big front page spread. Link this, get this, ticket, go see movie. It's kind of hidden. And then you go to it, and you see the banner, and you see the explanation, and then you click it, and then there's another page, which you have to read the whole thing to get to the bottom of that page, and then you click that. Then there's a third page you have to go all the way through, and then you get to the thing that lists which theaters are showing it and what it's going to cost you. And it's going to cost you about $14 if you're an adult, which is probably what it's going to cost you to go see it anyways, if you were one of the 5 people on the planet who are going to go see it on the first day of April, which is a horrible day to see a movie. So people went and saw it. Some saw it last night, and we're getting the responses and the reviews to it. And as we know, the reviews have been generally vaguely favorable without actually being favorable, and somewhat condescending, insulting without actually being condescending and insulting, and just kind of makes the movie look like meh. People have called it Pirates of the Caribbean with dragons. People have called it Game of Thrones with dragons. People have just called it a nice popcorn movie about stuff I really don't understand. The main things that are getting the story out of this, of course, is the Owlbear controversy, the Chris Pine stuff, and the fact that there is a 13-minute mini-movie in the movie featuring the characters that look vaguely like the characters from the classic Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. So that's what's coming out of the movie. Not, oh my god, breathtaking effects. Not, wow, this makes me feel like I'm playing a game of Dungeons and Dragons with my friends. No, it's like, I think as Chris Pine said, very first thing, day one, it's a great thing to do if you're drunk for an hour. So out of all of that, now it's, well, I saw the movie and the mechanics are not accurate to the game. So I hate it. I saw the movie, the mechanics in the movie are not accurate to Dungeons and Dragons, I guess 5th edition. So I hate it. Now, I can think of a lot of reasons to complain about this movie, but that's not one that would have come to my mind because it's a movie. And movies have things like budgets and special effects and editing. Because just think about this. Dungeons and Dragons is broken down to rounds and turns. When it's your turn, you can do stuff. When it's not your turn, you don't get to do stuff. Now, how long a round and a turn is has always been sort of a nebulous amount of time that nobody has ever really been able to agree upon. It's basically as long as it needs to be to do what you need to do. And there's certain things you can and cannot do on your turn. So if they took the combat mechanics of any edition of Dungeons & Dragons, but we'll say 5th, and then made it into a movie, you would literally have a scene where somebody was standing still, suddenly moved in a very linear way, took their action, and then stood still because it was no longer their turn. It would look like a very bad top-down party-based RTF. Is that what you guys wanted? Did you want to hear the wizard go, "It's not my turn"? Did you want to see the thief go, I'm out of charges. I can't use my daily because I've already used it 2 times today. I mean, if that's the movie you want to see, it's already been made. It's called The Gamers, Darkness Rising. Yeah. Moving on, we have the tie-in material to the Dungeons & Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves movie, which is, pound for pound, pretty much the least exciting run for tie-in merchandise I have seen in a long time. We've got some books that supposedly explain each of the characters and how they got together before they met. And if you have to release books ahead of time to explain the movie, that's not a good sign. You have the books in the pike, and then if the movie garners amongst interest, that people are like, gee, I want to know why this tiefling can turn into an owlbear when nobody else can, then you're like, oh, we're going to release a book that tells her story. I mean, book tie-ins to movies are nothing new, but they usually come out after the movie. Now, what should be coming out are toys and stuff. And we've seen some toys for this, and they look awful. We've seen some D&D related stuff that look awful. We've got some even Nerf run stuff for this game. And there's a fluffy owlbear plushie out. Now, that might be cute. I haven't seen that one yet. Let's see if there's a picture of the fluffy owlbear stuffy. Actually, it looks kind of frightening. And it just looks, I don't even know. Yeah, that's just no. And there's a Displacer Beast stuffy. I guess I could see an adult wanting this. I would not give this to the kid. The kid, 1, it's nightmare fuel. And 2, it's got a huge piece of metal right in the middle. Who designed this? Who designed this? How does that pass the code for choking hazards? Of course, you don't know what I'm looking at because I'm not using SteamYard, but you can go and I'll post a link. So yeah, that's the news. Now, we should be excited about this because this has been in the pike since 2000-something, if not before. Hollywood has been hemming and hawing a D&D movie for 20 some odd years. It has gone to the table multiple times and been pushed back in development hell, and finally we're getting to see a D&D movie. And you would think, with everything that's already been done, making a D&D movie would be a no-brainer. Got so much stuff to work with and work on and build off of, and we know that there's a formula out there that we could use to make this approachable to people who don't know what D&D is, as well as embrace the people who do know D&D with. And you don't have to look any farther than Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy takes the Pirates of the Caribbean formula, refreshes it up, makes it work, approachable. If you know what's going on in the Marvel Universe and you recognize all these things, great. If you don't know, have no idea what's going on in the Marvel Universe, you can still watch the movie and enjoy it. My brother, my sister, and I went to see Guardians of the Galaxy. I, being a Marvel, instantly recognized every reference. My brother sort of instantly recognized some of the references, and his wife, my sister-in-law, nothing about comic books, just enjoyed the action comedy. So, the formula was there. And there were so many ways you could have taken this and just done it correctly. But instead, it has been mired with argument and controversy and just, boycott this movie, boycott Wizards of the Coast, boycott Honor Amongst Thieves, Chris Pine can save anything. How bad does the movie have to be if its selling point is Chris Pine sells this movie, saves this movie? So, will it be a billion-dollar franchise? We'll be lucky if it makes $500 million domestic. It might do well overseas. Will people pay to view it on Netflix? Or will they just wait until its general release on Netflix? I think 99% of the people who haven't seen it in the theater are just going to wait till they can see it for free on Netflix. I don't see people rushing to the theater to see this movie. Maybe some game groups. Hey, remember the Paizo RPG Superstar thing that Paizo has done every now and then irregularly? Well, they're doing it again. They're running another contest. This one is called Elemental Stars, RPG Superstars. You can go to the Paizo site, submit a monster, submit up to 4 monsters, and then they will go through it, and they will pick 137 winners for in various categories, and the winners will receive cash prizes, copies of the monster, copies of whatever the monster is going to go into. It looks like they're all being made for a product called Elemental Storm and other stuff. And of course, you get your name in it. So if you think you've got the chops to make a monster and submit it to Paizo, here's your chance. And the link down below. SSI, remember those guys? SSI has crawled out of the darkness of the past to release a collection of all the video games that were originally released by them for D&D. So this is 8 classic D&D games, including Heroes of the Lance, Pirates of Realm Space, Fantasy Empires, Death Keep, Dragon Strike, all those things. So if you're looking for a collection of classic 80s, early 90s SSI games, and if you want to see what D&D combat would look like if you made a movie out of it, and it was actually a realistic D&D combat, you could get this and play these games and see them. Speaking of games that are based upon D&D but not based upon D&D, Celesta has got its first supplement coming out. Celesta, one of the games that were mentioned in the original OGL nonsense of January because they used the 5e mechanics without directly being connected to D&D. And now they are releasing some new stuff, and they're also releasing an expansion for Neverwinter Nights. So we've got a new expansion for Celesta called Palace of the Ice, and we've got a new expansion for the Neverwinter called Menzoberranzan. These are all ways to enjoy the video games that are based upon 5e mechanics. So, again, I don't think the movie used the correct mechanics for the game. Well, if you want to see what the correct mechanics for the game would look like in a movie, you could just get one of these and watch it and go, oh yeah, game reality physics and movie reality physics are completely different. Yeah, I get it now. The Tabletop Trading Card Game Union is looking to expand. They're having their first elections. They're looking to do other companies besides Wizards and Paizo. So yeah, good, interesting thing to know. I mean, of course, that's if you realize that there are other tabletop trading card games besides Magic the Gathering, and that the people who create these games were looking to unionize to protect themselves from their parent companies. But for 99% of the world, Magic the Gathering is the only TCG that exists, so who are all these other people? Wait, there are other TCGs? Oh yeah, Pokemon. Okay, Magic the Gathering and Pokemon. Oh, wait, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, fine. Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh! But that's it. There's no other table. That's the three, right? There's no other trading card games. So what's going on? How many of them do they need a union? I mean, aren't they all made from the same? Oh, they're actually made by different people? Different companies? Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Aren't the same thing as Magic? Okay, so there's three companies making this stuff. I guess they could do... Oh, wait, there's actually more than three trading card games out there besides Magic, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh! There's a Lord of the Rings trading card game? There's a Star Wars trading... Okay, I guess maybe these guys do need a union. I don't know. I mean, it's important that these guys' rights are protected. It's news. Does it really affect you? Only if at some point in time the Magic the Gathering union guys go, we're going on strike. We're not making any more Magic the Gathering cards until you increase our prices. And the Magic the Gathering people will go, great. That means the value of the current cards have actually gone up. Thank you. 2, well, that's not going to affect us because we can still proxy everything like we have been doing for the past 5 years. So, And Hasbro can just go, okay, go on strike. It's not like we need you, Wizards of the Coast. We can literally make Magic cards to the end of time without any input. There's a bundle for tabletop role-playing game bundle up on Itch.io to support various LGBTQ charities in Florida. If that's something you care about, I discussed the bundles in the bundles news. And on a last bit of story, this comes to us from our friends over at Tabletop Taproom. Justin Lanasa seems to be in the news again. Now, normally I try and avoid Mr. Lanasa since the last time I brought up a story about him, he threatened me, and I don't have the time or energy to deal with this guy. So I was just like, you know what? Tabletop Taproom covers all the Lanasa news. I just link it. So if you ever want to know what's going on with Justin Lanasa and his non-stop circus of bizarreness, you could just head on over to Tabletop Taproom, link down below, and look at the latest story. And the latest story is Lanasa is trying to get himself unbanned from a convention that he was banned from for being Lanasa. I'm drinking coffee. But not just any coffee. Sponsored coffee. Do you want to sponsor the OGGM adventures? Do you want to drink coffee? There's a great way to do it. Use the coupon down below to head on over to my sponsor, Kuso Coffee. Pick up a pack of Kuso Coffee using my link for 5% off. You support them, you support me. Win, 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 win. Or you could just forget what I just said. Head on over to Big Geek Emporium. Check the link down below. Look at all the amazing product I have put on Big Geek Emporium consistently at least once a week since January. And by that, all the funds go directly to support me. It makes you look awesome. It makes me look awesome. And the world is a better place for you buying OGGM merch over at Big Geek Emporium. Yeah. I'm happy now that you're thinking about it. Please like, please share, please subscribe. Please help me reach 1,300 subs by the end of the month. And I'll talk to you guys later. Until then, have a great day. Are you planning on going to see the D&D movie? Let me know. Are you still boycotting it? Let me know. Are you going to watch it in secret when it's on Netflix and still tell everybody I'm boycotting it? Let me know. I have no plans to see it unless my brother wants to go see it. I'll see it if somebody else is going to pay for it. But as of now, I just feel like I've already seen this movie. I've got my D&D movie. I've got an entire decade of D&D movies. Why do I need to see this? It's not doing anything new and original and different. I could watch 10,000 cheap fantasy movies on Netflix and Amazon and not pay a dime. Plus, Hawk the Slayer. Hawk the motherfucking Slayer. The best D&D movie ever made. That's it for today. I will be back later. See ya! Remember, Chris Pine can save anything.